morning rush at Atlanta International Airport moved like a machine. Announcements rang through the loudspeakers. Rolling suitcases hummed across the tiles, and the smell of cinnamon rolls from a nearby cafe drifted into the air. In the middle of it all, a young couple, Ethan and Lila Brooks, pushed a navy blue stroller through the terminal, blending in with every other traveler. Ethan, in his late 20s with a quiet demeanor, glanced at the departure board. Lila, holding a coffee cup in one hand and the stroller handle in the other, seemed focused on keeping their infant daughter asleep. The baby, wrapped in a soft pink blanket, snored peacefully beneath a small giraffe plush toy tucked beside her. Flight to Denver was still over an hour away, so they moved slowly, pausing every few steps as Lila adjusted the baby's hat or Ethan checked his phone. Nothing about them drew attention. At least not at first, but a few gates ahead, Officer Darnell was beginning his routine patrol with Titan, a well-trained German Shepherd K9 assigned to airport security. Titan had served for 5 years and had a reputation for his keen instincts. Together, they made their way through the terminal, weaving in and out of the crowds, scanning for anything unusual. Darnell didn't expect much from this round. It was a midweek morning, typically calm, mostly families and vacationers. He gave Titan the usual sniff command as they moved past a magazine stand and then continued toward the central concourse. Then, without warning, Titan froze. Darnell took another 2 steps before realizing the dog had stopped behind him. He turned to find Titan staring ahead, muscles locked, ears pointed toward the crowd near Gate 12. His nose lifted slightly, sniffing the air. This wasn't a false alarm. Titan never froze unless he sensed something real. "Easy, boy," Darnell muttered, tightening the leash slightly. "What is it?" Titan took one slow step forward, then another, keeping his eyes locked on a target Darnell couldn't see yet. Then he growled. The growl wasn't loud, but it was sharp, alert, focused. Darnell followed the dog's gaze, and that's when he saw the young couple standing near the vending machines with a baby stroller. They didn't seem suspicious at all. The woman was bouncing slightly on her heels, sipping her drink. The man was crouched, tying his shoelace, but Titan clearly disagreed. The dog tugged forward. Darnell loosened the grip and let him lead. As they got closer, Titan's tail stiffened. His nose twitched rapidly. Then, as they passed within 10 feet of the stroller, Titan stopped again. This time, he barked once sharp and loud. Travelers. Around them turned in surprise. Some stepped back instinctively. Ethan looked up, startled. "Is something wrong?" Darnell held up a calming hand. "Just a routine check, sir." Titan pulled again, this time circling the stroller. The baby stirred but didn't wake. Lila looked uncomfortable. "He's making the baby nervous," she said. "I understand." "Just give us 1 second," Darnell replied, crouching beside his dog. Titan had locked on to the lower half of the stroller, his nose pressed near a zipped pouch beneath the baby's seat. He gave another sharp bark. "Ma'am," Darnell said. Standing up, "I'm going to need you both to step back for a moment." "What? Why?" Ethan asked, stepping forward protectively. Before Darnell could answer, Titan did something that shocked everyone. He jumped with one sudden powerful leap. Titan placed both front paws inside the stroller, landing beside the baby's feet. Lila screamed. A nearby traveler dropped their coffee. Gasps echoed through the terminal. Titan began digging carefully, but urgently, beneath the blanket. "Get him out of there," Layla cried. "He's scaring her." But before Darnell could reach for the leash, something tumbled out from beneath the blanket and hit the ground with a muffled clink. A small, tightly wrapped bundle had fallen from the stroller and rolled several feet away. Darnell's heart dropped. Titan growled, stepping between the bundle and the stroller. Something about this morning had just taken a dangerous turn. The small bundle lay on the polished floor, its patterned cloth glinting faintly under the airport lights. It was no bigger than a soda can, but its sudden appearance sparked a ripple of alarm throughout Gate 12. People instinctively took a step back, their murmurs swelling into a chorus of nervous whispers. Officer Darnell tightened his grip on Titan's leash, watching the dog stand protectively over the mysterious object. Titan's deep growl vibrated through the air, a warning to anyone who dared approach. The dog's intense focus was unsettling, but Darnell knew better than to ignore it. "Clear the area," Darnell ordered, his voice calm but firm. Around him, a handful of airport security officers and TSA agents sprang into action, guiding travelers away from the scene. A woman clutching her carry-on bag stumbled back, wide-eyed, as a family with 2 young children hurried to a safe distance. Ethan and Lila were frozen, caught between shock and confusion. Lila's face was pale, her grip tightening on the stroller, as if to protect her baby from the unfolding chaos. "What is it?" Ethan demanded, eyes flicking between the bundle and the officers. "I don't know yet," Darnell replied, signaling for backup over his radio. But Titan wouldn't react like this without reason. Seconds felt like hours as the area around Gate 12 cleared, leaving an uneasy stillness. Passengers hurried past on either side, their footsteps echoing in the suddenly quiet terminal. Some stopped, craning their necks to see what had caused the disruption. Ethan looked at his wife, searching for answers. "Did you put something in the stroller?" he asked quietly, fear creeping into his voice. Lila shook her head, eyes brimming with tears. "Of course not. I don't understand what's happening." Titan remained at attention, his eyes locked on the bundle, as if sensing its secret. Officer Darnell knelt down cautiously, pulling on protective gloves from his belt. Slowly, he reached toward the object, careful not to disturb it abruptly. As he lifted the patterned cloth, the contents inside became clearer. Wrapped in several layers of plastic and medical tape were multiple small packets, shining under the terminal's fluorescent lights. Beside the packets lay a collection of documents, identification cards and badges that looked official, but something about them didn't sit right. Darnell's heart pounded. He gestured for the bomb squad, and a squad car pulled up outside the terminal in record time. Lila's sobs grew louder. "Please, it's a mistake. We didn't know." But her voice was drowned out by the rush of specialists arriving, clad in protective gear. They immediately cordoned off the area, ushering Ethan and Lila to a separate waiting space under the watchful eyes of officers. Titan was rewarded with a gentle pat on the head by Darnell, but didn't lose his alert stance. The bomb squad technician, a calm woman named Sarah, examined the wrapped packets carefully. "At first glance, this isn't a bomb," she told Darnell quietly, "but the materials inside could be dangerous in other ways." The documents raised more questions than answers. The badges, although forged, were sophisticated, replicating security credentials that would grant access to restricted airport areas. The IDs bore the names of individuals with no known records in the TSA database. As Sarah prepared to take the evidence for further analysis, Darnell's radio crackled. "Urgently. All gates adjacent to 12. Be on alert. We may be dealing with a coordinated operation." In the waiting room, Ethan paced, the weight of suspicion settling on his shoulders. "I swear, we had nothing to do with this," he said, voice barely above a whisper. Lila sat quietly, her baby cradled in her arms, eyes fixed on the floor. The terminal's hum returned slowly as flights resumed, but an invisible tension lingered. Passengers glanced over their shoulders, whispers spreading of a stroller scare. Meanwhile, Darnell stayed at the scene, scanning the crowd. Something about the couple, didn't add up. Titan's behavior was too precise, too targeted. Dogs like Titan didn't act on mere chance. Suddenly, surveillance footage from the parking garage was pulled up on a nearby screen. The grainy images showed a figure approaching a car early that morning, placing a small package inside the stroller before handing it back to a woman, Lila. Darnell's eyes narrowed. This was no accident. As the investigation deepened, one truth became clear. Beneath the innocent appearance of a baby stroller lay a hidden world of secrets, danger, and betrayal. And Titan's leap had just uncovered the first piece of a much larger puzzle. The patterned bundle that had tumbled from the stroller sat on the airport floor like a secret waiting to be uncovered. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, buzzing with confusion and curiosity. Some travelers pulled out their phones to record, while others exchanged worried glances. Officer Darnell stood firm, positioning himself between the bundle and the growing crowd. Titan's sharp eyes remained glued to the suspicious package, his posture rigid and ready for any sudden movement. Airport security had swiftly activated a lockdown around Gate 12. Yellow tape cordoned off a perimeter, and TSA agents began redirecting passengers away from the area. Announcements calmly asked travelers to stay calm and follow instructions, but the tension was palpable. Lila sat on a nearby bench, her face pale and hands trembling as she cradled the sleeping baby. Ethan stood beside her, his usual calm replaced by a storm of anxiety and disbelief. "How did this happen?" he whispered. "We didn't even pack the stroller ourselves." Lila's eyes were fixed on the officers examining the bundle. "Maybe someone planted it," she said softly. "But who? And why?" The bomb squad had arrived, their sleek black van pulling up with flashing lights. A team of technicians emerged, carefully unloading their gear. Among them was Sarah, the lead technician who had already examined the suspicious package earlier. With practiced efficiency, they set up their equipment and began assessing the scene. Sarah called over a small robot to inspect the bundle remotely, reducing risk to her team. The machine's camera sent live footage to their handheld screens, showing the sealed packets and forged documents tightly packed inside. The robot's arm extended to carefully open the outer wrapping. The terminal seemed to hold its breath. Then, a soft hum filled the room, the robot's sensors detecting an unusual chemical signature. "Everyone back," Sarah ordered calmly but firmly. Security officers pushed the crowd further away, creating a wide buffer zone. Titan whined softly, sensing the heightened alert. Officer Darnell knelt beside him, stroking his head for reassurance. He whispered, "Good boy. You did the right thing." Meanwhile, Ethan and Lila were taken to a secure holding area for questioning. Lila's eyes darted nervously around the room. Ethan clenched his fists, trying to stay composed. "Do you know anything about the contents of that package?" An agent asked Ethan. "No, absolutely not," he said quickly. "I don't even know where it came from." Lila remained silent, rocking the baby gently. Her silence spoke volumes. Back at the scene, the bomb squad carefully extracted each item from the bundle. Inside were several small packets sealed in medical-grade tape, containing a crystalline substance that glistened ominously under the bright lights. Beneath those packets lay stacks of documents, fake IDs, airport access badges, and papers with official-looking stamps. The sophistication of the forgery shocked the investigators. "This isn't just a random act," Sarah said to Darnell quietly. "It looks like a carefully planned smuggling operation." Darnell nodded grimly. His instincts told him they had just stumbled on the tip of an iceberg. As news spread through the airport, whispers turned into hushed conversations. Passengers checked their belongings anxiously, while airport staff reviewed security footage on their phones. The couple's story began to unravel further when surveillance from the parking garage showed Lila meeting with a hooded figure early. That morning, the two exchanged the stroller briefly before she re-entered the terminal, unaware of the camera capturing every moment. Darnell studied the footage closely. The woman's expression was unreadable, but the man's hurried glance at the camera betrayed nerves. Could the innocent-looking couple be caught in something far darker? Hours passed as agents sifted through the evidence. The terminal slowly returned to normal, but the shadow of suspicion lingered in the holding room. Ethan finally broke down. "I think someone used us," he said, voice cracking. "I don't know who, but we were set up." Leela remained quiet, tears rolling down her cheeks as she cradled the baby. Officer Darnell watched from afar, his thoughts racing. Titan's leap into the stroller had revealed more than just a hidden package. It had exposed a carefully concealed danger within the very heart of the airport. And the question everyone now faced was, who would pay the price for it? The quiet hum of the airport was broken by the arrival of the bomb squad's black van, its flashing lights slicing through the mid-morning crowd. Within moments, technicians in protective gear spilled out, their faces set with grim focus. Among them was Sarah, the lead specialist, whose calm confidence had steadied many, a tense moment before as the perimeter expanded around Gate 12. Passengers were ushered to the far side of the terminal. The atmosphere shifted from curiosity to tension, each whispered rumor thickening the air. Families clutched their belongings tighter. Travelers glanced nervously at one another, and airport staff kept a wary eye on the unfolding scene. Inside the cordoned-off area, Sarah crouched by the suspicious bundle, gloved hands moving methodically. She signaled for the remote inspection robot to approach. The sleek machine rolled forward with precision, cameras streaming real-time footage to the team's handheld monitors. The robot extended a mechanical arm and carefully peeled back the patterned cloth wrapping the bundle. Inside lay several sealed packets, each wrapped in layers of clear tape, alongside a stack of forged identification badges and documents. The synthetic shine of the packets caught the light, hinting at their unusual contents. Sarah's voice crackled through her radio. "This isn't a bomb, but these packets test positive for a controlled substance. The IDs are expertly forged. We might be looking at an attempt to smuggle illegal materials using airport security badges." Officer Darnell, watching nearby with Titan by his side, frowned. How would someone get away with using forged badges? "By exploiting the trust we place in families traveling with infants," Sarah answered. "A stroller is the last thing anyone suspects. It's the perfect cover." Suddenly, the robot stopped moving, its sensors glitching. A low hum filled the air as the machine's lights flickered. Sarah frowned, tapping the control panel urgently. The robot was unresponsive. "Could be interference," she said. "Remote inspection is down. We're going in." With a nod from the squad leader, Sarah and two other technicians carefully approached the package. Titan growled softly, sensing the shift in energy. Darnell stepped forward, ready to intervene if needed. The technicians used specialized tools to open the packets one by one. Inside were small crystalline substances, clear, but with a faint shimmer. Tests revealed the presence of a new synthetic drug, difficult to detect and even harder to track. The forged badges were equally troubling. They bore names and photos, but none matched any known airport personnel. The sophistication of the documents suggested a criminal network with inside knowledge. As the investigation deepened, an announcement came over the terminal's PA system, asking for calm and patience from travelers. Flights continued, but a heavy cloud of unease settled over the airport. Meanwhile, Ethan and Lila sat in a secured interrogation room, the baby asleep in Lila's arms. Ethan's voice was steady, but filled with frustration. "We didn't know anything about this. We've never seen those packets or badges. Lila's eyes darted nervously, avoiding eye contact. I swear, she whispered. I didn't put those there. The interrogator nodded, but didn't press further for now. Back at gate 12, Darnell's eyes scanned the surveillance feeds once again. Footage from the airport's parking garage revealed something that made his stomach knot early that morning. Just before sunrise, a figure had approached a parked car carrying a Navy stroller. The person quickly slipped something into the stroller before handing it to a woman, Lila. Darnell's mind raced. Was Lila an unwilling participant? Or was she hiding something deeper? Titan sat quietly at his side, ears perked, as if waiting for the next clue. As the bomb squad packed up and the airport began to reopen the cordoned area, Darnell pulled aside Ethan. We're not done yet, he said firmly. There's more to this story than meets the eye. Ethan nodded, his jaw clenched. I want to help clear this up. I just want my family safe. Titan gave a soft whine, his eyes locking with Darnell's. In that silent exchange, the handler and dog both knew their work was far from over. Outside, the bustling airport moved on unaware, but behind the scenes, a complex investigation had just begun, one that would unravel secrets hidden in the least likely of places. A baby stroller. The atmosphere in the terminal had shifted from a normal busy morning to something far darker. The once innocent baby stroller had become the epicenter of a fast-growing investigation, and every step forward revealed more layers of mystery. Inside the secured evidence room, technicians carefully unpacked the bundle's contents under bright, clinical lights. The small packets, wrapped in medical tape, were spread out on a table for analysis. Each contained a crystalline substance that shimmered, faintly unassuming but potent. Chemical tests confirmed the worst. The packets held a newly synthesized drug, one that law enforcement agencies were scrambling to track and control. It was designed to evade detection by traditional screening, making it a perfect choice for smugglers looking to exploit busy airports. Beside the drugs, the forged identification badges posed an equally serious threat. The badges looked authentic at first glance, but bore subtle differences: misspelled names, fake security clearances, and outdated photos that wouldn't match anyone currently working in the airport. Officer Darnell studied the badges carefully. Someone has access to the right materials to make these, he said. This isn't amateur work. We're dealing with a network, not just a single person. Meanwhile, in the interrogation room, Ethan sat across from two agents, his face weary but determined. We had no idea, he insisted. We don't even know how this got into the stroller. Layla rocked the baby gently, avoiding eye contact. Her lips trembled as she finally spoke. I didn't want to be involved, she said quietly. They threatened me. I thought if I cooperated, they'd leave us alone. The room went silent. One of the agents leaned forward. Who threatened you? Lila swallowed hard. A man named Marcus. He's dangerous. He said if I didn't do what he asked, something bad would happen to Ethan. Ethan's eyes widened in shock. Marcus? I know that name. My brother mentioned him once. A shady figure in the freight business. The agents exchanged looks. This was no longer just a smuggling attempt. It was personal. Back at the airport terminal, Darnell reviewed footage from earlier that morning again. The parking garage clip showed Lila handing off the stroller to a hooded figure in the pre-dawn darkness. Minutes later, the figure returned it, now carrying the hidden bundle inside. The timeline was tight, suggesting a well-coordinated operation. Designed to avoid detection, Titan, ever watchful, sat beside Darnell as the handler pieced together the puzzle. The dog's sudden leap into the stroller had been the first clue in stopping what could have been a major security breach. Later that afternoon, federal agents expanded their search throughout the airport. Additional luggage and strollers were scanned, revealing two more suspicious packages hidden in seemingly ordinary family gear. The airport went on heightened alert, with staff working overtime to ensure passenger safety. Ethan and Lila were placed in protective custody, their cooperation crucial to the ongoing investigation. The baby remained unaware of the turmoil, her innocent presence a stark contrast to the tension that gripped everyone around her. News crews arrived, and the story quickly made headlines. A police dog's quick instincts had uncovered a smuggling ring using baby strollers as cover. Public reaction was a mix of awe and concern, with many praising Titan's heroism. But behind the media attention, the real work continued. Darnell and the task force focused on tracking Marcus, the elusive man who had coerced Lila and orchestrated the smuggling network. They knew time was running out. Every hour Marcus remained free increased the risk of more dangerous materials slipping through as dusk settled over the city. Titan rested briefly, his keen senses still alert to every sound. Darnell looked at the dog, grateful for the silent partner who had changed the course of the investigation. "The baby's safe because of you, Titan," he said softly, but both man and dog understood the road ahead was far from over. Days passed, and the investigation deepened. Ethan and Lila remained in protective custody, their lives appended by the sudden chaos that had erupted around them. The baby, still unaware of the storm, was cared for gently by hospital staff, offering a fragile sense of normalcy amid the uncertainty. For Ethan, the weight of guilt grew heavier each day. He replayed every detail in his mind, searching for the moment he might have missed something, a hint, a warning, anything. Under questioning, Ethan finally revealed a connection he hadn't mentioned before. "I reconnected with my half-brother a few weeks ago," he confessed to a federal agent. "His name is Marcus. I thought he worked in international freight, something legitimate. But now, I'm not so sure." The name hit like a THUNDERCLAP. Marcus. The man Lila had feared, the figure seen handing off the stroller early that morning. Agents quickly pulled up Marcus's profile. He had a history of questionable dealings, connections to smuggling rings overseas, and was already on an international watch list. Lila sat silently during the interrogation, eyes fixed on the floor. When confronted with the footage from the seed parking garage, she finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I met Marcus there," she admitted. "He told me what to do. I didn't want to be involved, but I was scared. He said he would hurt Ethan if I refused." The confession painted a grim picture. Lila's role was forced, a pawn in a larger, dangerous game. Meanwhile, Darnell and his team combed through hours of security footage and data. They identified several other people who had briefly interacted with the couple. Some had been at the parking garage, others within the terminal. A pattern emerged, a network of couriers using unsuspecting families and everyday items to move contraband through one of the nation's busiest airports. But the question remained, how deep did the network go? And who else was involved? Titan's role in uncovering the initial bundle became a key part of the case. The dog's instincts had pierced through the deception, revealing a threat hidden in plain sight. Agents also discovered that Marcus had been exploiting loopholes in airport security protocols. By forging badges and documents, he and his associates were able to move packages through restricted zones without raising alarms. Darnell couldn't shake the feeling that the network extended beyond the airport. The forged IDs hinted at inside help, people who knew the systems well enough to manipulate them. One night, as the airport quieted, Darnell sat reviewing files with Titan resting nearby. His phone buzzed with an alert. A flight scheduled to depart at dawn had a passenger matching Marcus's description, booked under a false identity. The hunt was on. Ethan and Lila prepared to testify in an upcoming hearing, their cooperation crucial to bringing down the network. Despite their fear, They hoped their ordeal would help protect other families. As the investigation expanded, airport security upgraded protocols, introducing tighter checks on luggage and personnel badges. Titan and other K-9 units received special commendations for their role in the operation. For Darnell, the case was a reminder of the unexpected ways danger could appear, even in the soft padding of a baby stroller. He looked down at Titan, who wagged his tail slowly, sensing the calm but ready for what lay ahead. The story wasn't over. It was only just beginning. The airport never truly felt the same after that day. News of Titan's leap into the stroller had spread fast, becoming a symbol of vigilance and unexpected heroism. But beneath the headlines, a far more urgent operation was unfolding. Federal agents moved swiftly. The forged badges discovered in the stroller were only the beginning, a thread that, when pulled, unraveled a sprawling smuggling network operating not just within the airport, but across multiple states. Darnell and his team coordinated with law enforcement agencies from neighboring cities, setting up checkpoints and scanning for suspicious activity. The investigation expanded beyond the terminal's walls. Early that morning, partial lockdown was ordered around the airport. Passengers experienced delays, flights were rerouted, and security screenings intensified. The bustling hub transformed into a tense zone of controlled chaos. Inside the secured command center, maps and digital screens displayed flight paths, passenger data, and security alerts. Every detail was scrutinized. Titan remained at Darnell's side, ears twitching at every sound. The dog had become a symbol of hope for the officers, proof that sometimes the smallest actions made the biggest difference. Meanwhile, Ethan and Lila were placed in witness protection. Their identities were shielded to keep them safe from retaliation. Despite the turmoil, Lila remained determined to cooperate, hoping her testimony would dismantle the dangerous operation. One breakthrough came when facial recognition software identified a man boarding a flight just hours after the stroller incident. He used a false passport and a fake identity, but his features matched Marcus. The man slipped through security, heading toward a connecting flight that would take him out of the country. Agents scrambled to intercept, but the suspect was already airborne. A nationwide alert went out. At the airport, officers intensified their searches. Luggage was scanned twice, every package inspected meticulously. Security teams monitored every corner, watching for accomplices or other couriers. Darnell reflected on the scale of the operation. The smugglers had exploited the trust placed in families, using baby strollers and forged badges to bypass security. Stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. 2 days later, agents uncovered 2 additional packages hidden in children's car seats, both containing the same synthetic drug found in the stroller bundle. Each discovery led to more arrests and further dismantled the network. Public confidence wavered, but the swift action of law enforcement and the vigilance of K-9 units reassured travelers. For Ethan and Lila, life was a mix of fear and relief. Their cooperation was vital, but the shadow of Marcus and his associates loomed large. Late one evening, as Darnell reviewed case files, a call came through. Marcus had been located, hiding in a remote safe house miles from the city. A tactical team was deployed. The manhunt was reaching its climax. Darnell prepared to lead the operation, knowing that every move had to be precise. Titan sat calmly beside him, ready for what would come next. The quiet heroics of a dog leaping into a stroller had sparked a chain of events that exposed a dangerous criminal web. Now, with the net tightening, justice was within reach. 2 weeks after the dramatic arrest of Marcus and several other key figures in the smuggling ring, the airport buzzed with a different kind of energy. Reporters and officials gathered in a small ceremony near Gate 12, the very spot where it all began. Among them stood Officer Darnell, his posture proud but humble. At his side sat Titan, the German shepherd whose leap into a baby stroller had set the entire investigation in motion. The crowd hushed as Darnell stepped forward, speaking clearly into the microphone. Today, we honor Titan, not just as a police dog, but as a symbol of vigilance, bravery, and the unexpected ways heroes can change the course of events. He paused, looking down at Titan's calm eyes. Because of his instincts, we stopped a dangerous operation and kept countless travelers safe. Applause rippled through the room, but Darnell's mind was with the families who had suffered behind the scenes, especially Ethan and Lila. Though shaken and forever changed, the couple had cooperated fully with authorities, helping to bring down a network that had used fear and deception to manipulate them. Lila held their baby tightly. Now a little older and safe, the innocent center of a story far beyond her understanding. Ethan stood beside her, gratitude and relief etched on his face. Outside the ceremony, news outlets broadcast images of Titan resting quietly beside the empty stroller, the scene that had captured the hearts of many. Social media lit up with praise for the dog who had seemingly leapt into danger without hesitation. But for Darnell, the real victory was quieter. This is a reminder, he told a reporter, that sometimes the smallest actions, the ones you don't expect, can stop something much bigger. Titan followed his instincts. That saved lives. Investigations continued, but the core of the smuggling ring had been dismantled. Multiple arrests had been made across states, thanks in part to the documents and clues uncovered inside the stroller. Airport security protocols were overhauled to prevent similar attempts in the future, including more rigorous checks on strollers and family luggage. Life at the airport slowly returned to normal, but the story of Titan's leap remained a legend. Among the security teams, Officer Darnell watched as Titan played gently with a new puppy from the K9 unit, the dog's sharp eyes now softer, but still vigilant. The partnership between handler and dog was unbreakable. The couple, still under protection, had begun rebuilding their lives. Their trauma was real, but so was the resilience. As for Titan, the silent hero of the day, he was simply content to be by Darnell's side, ready for the next call, the next leap of faith. And in a world where danger can hide in the most ordinary places, that kind of loyalty was priceless.